do a little puttering, which is very pleasant right now. There's lots of birds and plenty to do. That's a sparrow making all that racket. But I really wanted you to hear the sound of the Carolina wren. I don't know how much battery I have right now, but what I really want to do is trim a little bit. I get fatigued very quickly, so I have to do little bits at a time. And one of the things I wanted to do was this little birdhouse right here. Has been here since we bought the property years ago, and this little medical tool was in a microscope kit that we had, a very ancient microscope kit that we had, because I homeschooled my kids, so we had all kinds of cool scientific stuff, and this was one of the things. Now, I was telling you there's this big Carolina wren who's been around the yard the past couple weeks singing his head off very welcomely. I don't hear him right now, but he actually got in the house yesterday up in my sunroom, because my window is open way over there that the dog is looking out. Here, you want to see the dog? That's the dog up there looking out the window at me. Right, Penny? Come look out the window, Penny. Penny. Well, no, she went away. Wow, I gotta wash the back of the house too. Look at that. This is the north side. I guess maybe the dog is camera shy, although I don't think that's the case. She probably ran to the door for me to let her out. But this hanging birdhouse is interesting. It's made out of ceramic, and it was here when we bought the house 27 years ago. And every single year, a little house wren has made its home in this little house here. So I try to clean it out before he comes back, and he should be here any day now. But I want to give him a little bit of space in there to put some new sticks. I don't have to get it completely cleaned out, but it would be good if he had room to get in there. He's a tiny bird, and only the male sings, and he could have several little households with multiple lady wrens around the neighborhood. But this is my big first thing that I do in the spring, is clean out this little house. And since today was actually the first day I got outside, making a very long winter for me. Now that's a song sparrow singing. I love all the birds I have. I love my yard, my property, my garden. It's called Grace Garden because my name's Carol. It's called Grace Garden because it's by the grace of God that I have this awesome place, which I love. And this is one of the first things I do every year outside. This little ceramic birdhouse could probably use a new coat of paint, which I should have done several weeks ago if I was gonna. A unique thing about this birdhouse is it hangs from this wire, and I have another hanging birdhouse over there, which I'll show you in a second. No one really goes in there but bees, which is okay too. We need to protect the bees. Bees are going through some serious difficulties in life, and we depend on bees for food, not honey. We depend on bees for making all of the other green things, vegetables and vegetarian things that we eat, grow. Okay, so the microscope is long gone, but this little tool has been useful for me every year. And I'm sorry that the Carolina wren's not been singing. Oh, I was telling you that he got in the house yesterday, the Carolina wren, and he was frightened. But I managed to open all the sunroom windows and encourage him to make his way out. And as soon as he got out, he sat in the closest shrub to the window and just sang and sang and sang for me, which was awesome. Almost like he understood that I wanted him to be free, and he was thankful that I loved him. There, that should be pretty open enough inside there for a bird to come. And maybe the same bird that was here last year, or one of those those nestlings will come back. I don't know if it's like a salmon returning. All right, I don't know if I want to pull all that grassiness out of there, but we'll leave it for the bird that decides to live here to make it comfortable for himself. But every year a bird is nested in this house. So I'm looking forward to that, and he should be here any day. Around the middle of April is when he shows up. Oh, here, while I'm here, let me show you these leaves here in the grass. This is a plant called lesser celandine. All of these green leaves are this plant, and they've just started coming into flower, but they'll be covered with yellow flowers in this patch right here, which is quite large. It's probably 2.5 feet wide by 4 feet. When we first moved here, this was just a tiny patch, probably this big, that I avoided with the lawnmower when I mowed, because I liked these pretty little things growing in my grass. And here it's taken 20 years to get this big, so it's certainly not a nuisance. And it stays green even after the flowers are past. So if my whole lawn was this, I wouldn't have to mow or anything. And that's sort of what I wish would happen. I'm taking away slowly over time the grass. I'm encouraging the mosses to grow here, and they're slowly but surely taking over better. I pull out the little weeds in the grass, like I'm doing right here. And eventually the moss will take over because the weeds won't have any ability to have a foothold. But eventually I want this whole area to be moss. See, I got quite a bit of the grass away from here. But eventually I want this all to be moss. In the summertime, grass really hardly grows over here. Anyway, so if moss wants to be there, so be it. I'll encourage that. I like the moss. The moss makes me happy. I like the green. And I like my planted things, like this azalea. And this here's a lily. This here's irises. And this is creeping Charlie, which I hate and smells awful when you hit it with the lawnmower. And then there's also some wood hyacinths. These are all wood hyacinths, these here, which obviously I planted them. They're not naturally occurring. But I like the things that come by themselves. So what I want to do right now is get my loppers, spend a few minutes giving this here I have to show that to my son. I don't know what that is. But we'll spend a minute doing some cutting of some unsightly suckers. These here are actually suckers coming off the roots of this cherry tree. Ooh, this sort of hurts because my side is painful from my lungs being compromised by the pneumonia that I'm having to admit I have. So maybe I should. I am left-handed, but for some reason when I need strength, I always use my right side. Maybe I'm ambidextrous, or just very coordinated and should be using my left side and don't. But if I do a little bit and take care of one spot every day, eventually, hopefully, I'll get a handle on this. It's certainly a gorgeous enough day out to take advantage of the air and the sunshine and the bird song. Somewhere in this area is one of my favorite plants. It's a painted fern, and it may just be too early for it to be showing itself. I don't see it yet, but it's very faithful. I know it's here. Just gotta wait some more for it. There's my painted fern. Right there. And we give this creeping Charlie a little bit of pull. And now's a good time to pick it, to pull it, because there's not a lot of other things up. There's not a lot of other things up which will get in the way of you being able to give it a good yank. And very soon it's going to be covered with really nice, pretty blue flowers. And then it sort of lulls you into a sense that you can pick it later and enjoy the blue flowers, but don't make that mistake. Pick it, pull it, get it out of there, because it grows faster than you can keep up with. And then there's this wild ground strawberry, which we have a lot of here, and that's sort of a bane of this garden as well. I guess it really doesn't hurt anything. Not like the bindweed that I have to deal with in the summer. But, see, it didn't take very many minutes. Well, here I wanted to give you a close-up view. This is my little painted fern, which I love. And it's happy here. It does well. It's faithful. But there, that's one square yard. One square yard that is improved. I need to cut these a little bit better. And it's here. See, this is a good time to get this, because these other leaves right here are violets, and I like them. They have put themselves here, and these are purple ones, violets. In the back corner there's a patch that's white with purple throats. None of them did I plant. They belong here. Who knows how long they grow. Oh, that's this right here is a berberis, a noxious plant, Pennsylvania noxious plant. Don't want that. Let's see. It's pretty easy to get these now, and you're not disturbing. This here's a lily, orange, big orange lily, tiger lily. It's not a tiger lily. Well, I guess it probably is a tiger lily, actually. Daylilies that people, the red orange daylilies that people see on the side of the road are not tiger lilies, but this is an actual lilium. The lilies you see on the side of the road are hemerocallis, which is a daylily. Totally different plant. Okay. Well, that's been a good improvement. See that spot right there? Something ate that. Which, if I could train them to eat the stuff I don't like, the rabbits and the groundhogs would be more than welcome. So, alright, let me just cut these few little bits that are over here. And I know that there's poison ivy around the other side of this tree. And right now, while their leaves are not visible and the plant itself is dormant, I don't want to mess around over there because you can still get poison ivy from the dead vines or the dormant plants. And you don't want to know how I know that, although I'm old and I've gotten poison ivy every way you can imagine. As much as I like the outside and plants, poison ivy is like my kryptonite. Not that I'm a super person. I'm no super gardener. Love it out here. This is probably doing better for me than any medicine. Just being outside. And I did actually want you to hear. That sounded like a truck. I did want you to hear that warbling of the Carolina wren, and it's a big wren. Wrens are usually these tiny little birds that you can't hardly spot, but you can hear them because they have great songs, great lungs. Hey, I think this is going to be awesome for me just to even give myself some before and after pictures. You know, picture's worth 1,000 words. A movie must be worth a lot more than that. So I think this will be useful to me. Maybe just to document my garden a little bit. But there, that's a lot better than it was, right? This is a metal bar, a coated metal bar that's been moved around my property for years. It seems like it should have some important use, so I don't throw it away. But it's like 12 feet long. I think I have another one laying here somewhere too. I think there's 2 of them somewhere. I've gotten to the place though, lately I've thrown a lot of stuff away that I kept forever just because I've always had it. Maybe save my kids a little money, but they can buy a smaller dumpster when I die. I have 2 kids. I mentioned my teenage son, who's actually 19, so I don't know, is that considered a teenager anymore? He's a child when he wants me to cook for him. That's for sure. I also have a 26-year-old son who no longer lives at home. He's a very good son and is in constant communication with me. But he doesn't live here anymore. But there it is. Wonderful. Now I'm just going to pick up all of this. Make sure I put my loppers away, my other tools, and pick up all this stuff and this mess here, and put it in a trash barrel. There's a trash barrel right there. Here. Here's another honeydew list. I'm the only one that gets the honeydew list, so I'll have to add it to myself. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Wait. Here's a barrel from yesterday when I was picking sticks up over here for a few minutes. And we transplanted and divided my Virginia bluebells. But made quick work of that. We'll get that one tomorrow. You know what? Let's not get that tomorrow. Let's get that today. I'll go get this. It's not Let's not be a procrastinator anymore. Woman. My son can add this to his fire pit wood. But the rest of this stuff is no good for anything. I don't know, can you burn bamboo? Well, I'm sure he'll try. Very nice. Okay. Nice. I'm sufficiently satisfied and probably more than sufficiently winded. So, yeah, that's better. Well, thank you for joining me at Grace Garden. Here is another perspective on Grace Garden. And it seems very quiet outside. Drew me to the window. The birds stopped singing. I think there's bad weather coming. This is north. We're looking north right now, due north, out the back of the house. A nicer perspective on a cherry tree. And down there is where we were just pulling weeds and working at the end of the garden path. And the sun's hanging on. That's west, where the weather comes from. So it's heading our way. It's bucketing out. Sorry for my hands. It was just a huge lightning and cracked thunder. You can still hear it thundering. That's why the birds were hiding. It's after 3 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. And I've been waiting for my wren to sing for you. And he's finally out here making noise. It's pretty far away, so I can't see him. The Carolina wren. He'll leave soon, and the little house wrens will come and give me music in the backyard. Thanks for being with me in the garden today. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question. Thanks. Bye.